Good morning, students. Today we are going to take up Rabbi Ben Ezra Part 2. Let's start the third stanza of the poem. Not for such hopes and fears, annulling youth's brief fears, do I remonstrate fully wide the mark. Rather, I prize the doubt. Low kinds exist without finished and finite clouds, untroubled by a spark. Here, this stanza, the stanza has been derived from the dramatic monologue Rabbi Ben Ezra, composed by Robert Browning. The speaker Ben Ezra expresses his philosophy that fears, hopes, desires, and ideals of youth are significant, which distinguishes a man from animal. These are the indications of divine and infinite within the man. Youth is a period of hopes and fears, but the Rabbi does not find fault with such hopes and fears. A youth hopes that his desires and ideals would be fulfilled, and he is also afraid that he may fail to achieve his aspirations. But Rabbi does not regard such hopes and fears as mere waste of time. He does not consider them as sheer folly. As a matter of fact, these fears and hopes, desires and ideals distinguish a man from the lower animals. The lower animals are perfect pieces of clay without any soul or the spark of the divine in them. That's why they have no infinite longings and aspirations. In other words, the hopes and fears of youth are an indication of the divine in him, of the presence of the infinite within him. Let's take up the next stanza. Poor want of life indeed, were man but formed to feed on joy, to solely seek and find and feast. Such feasting ended, then, as sure an end to men. Oaks care the crowful bird, frets doubt the move crammed beast. The speaker Ben Ezra says that human life is not only for eating, drinking, and enjoying like other creatures. The worries, self consciousness, fears, etc. of man make him superior to other creatures. Human life would be empty and meaningless if its sole purpose were the gratification of physical desires. If man were created merely to eat and drink and indulge in physical pleasures like the lower animals and had no higher purpose in life, then his life would be futile and fruitless. In that case, man will perish and his life will come to an end as soon as he has gratified his desires. But this is not so. Man has fears and doubts, and it shows that he has a soul which is immortal and which does not end with the death of the body. In this respect, man is superior to the bird, which is not troubled by any cares and worries as soon as its hunger is satisfied, and to the beast, which is not troubled by any doubts as soon as its stomach is filled. If the purpose of man's life were to be limited to the satisfaction of his bodily needs, he would be no better than beasts and birds. Let's take up the next stanza. Rejoice, we are allied, to that which doth provide, and not partake, effect and not receive. A spark disturbs our cloud. Nearer we hold of God, who gives than of his tribes that take, I must believe. Rabbi here says that man is the best of all the creatures because he may be inflicted with divine qualities. He is the doer as well as the creator. Man can go much nearer to God. Man should rejoice that he is allied to God, that he is akin to him, who provides for other and not to those lower creatures who merely passively receive the favors of God. He does receive favors like the lower creatures, but like God, he is also a doer and creator. That's the basic difference between man and other creatures. Man has been termed as a doer and creator of the things, while the rest of the creatures, they are not called so. Though he is of the earth, like the lower animals, yet he has the divine within him. The stirrings of doubts and fears in his soul are the divine elements in him. It is for this reason that he is nearer to God and has greater claim to kinship with God. Kinship here means relationship with God than the lower animals, who simply receive what God gives. Who receives? The animals. The animals simply receive what God gives them and have no divine stirrings within them. Animals merely receive gifts from God but have nothing to return. Man receives gifts from God and also returns them. He is not merely a receiver like other animals, but like God, he is also a giver of gifts. This is the deep seated faith of Rabbi Ben Ezra. Now, take up the next stanza. Then, welcome each rebuff that turns earth's smoothness rough, each sting that birds nor sit nor stand but go. Be our joys 3 parts pain. Strive and hold cheap the strain. Learn nor account the pang. Dare never grudge the throe. Here, philosopher Rabbi Ben Ezra asks the man not to be disappointed in life, not to be hopeless in life. He encourages the man to proceed continuously, to achieve, to strive, to achieve his goal, even in his odd circumstances. Not to lose hope, be always optimistic, and continue striving in achieving the goals of life. Since man is akin to God, means alike God, and superior to the lower animals, he should not be afraid of misfortunes and failures which disturb the smooth course of his life. Rather, he should welcome such misfortunes. Every kind of pain and trouble, disappointment and suffering that robs man of his rest forces him to make advance on the course of life and make heroic efforts for his improvement. They incite him to even greater effort instead of discouraging him. He should welcome even that joy which is obtained through pain and trouble. He should labor hard to achieve progress and should not care for any amount of trouble which he may have to face. He should gain experience and knowledge. He should do bold deeds without caring for the dangers and difficulties that may beset his path, that may come in his path. Dear students, I am reminded of chapter of class 7th where I read a line that man takes delight in overcoming the obstacles. Actually, man is considered to be the man here means human being. Man is considered to be the superior creature of all, simply because man thinks, man does, man creates, but rest of the animals, according to Rabbi and Ezra, are meant for physical gratification or satisfaction of the needs. But human being takes delight, takes pleasure in overcoming the obstacles, in transcending or going beyond or defeating or conquering the difficulties in life, the challenges in life. Let's take up the next stanza. For thence a paradox which comforts while it mocks. Shall life succeed in that it seems to fail? What I aspired to be and was not comforts me. A brute I might have been, but would not sink I the scale. Man should strive, means should try hard, without caring for the pain and suffering he has to undergo. From this view, the Rabbi derives a conclusion which is rather paradoxical. Paradox means a paradox is a statement when the two parts of which have opposite meaning. For example, failure implies success. The paradox is that what seems to man as failure is in reality a success. Take for an example. Suppose you fail in your examination. Then think. You will take a lesson from that failure. And next time, you will come up with flying colors. Of course. So, there is success behind failure. Or we can say, success resides in the temple of failure. The paradox is that what seems to man, a failure is in reality a success. This may seem to be something mocking or ironical, but in reality, this conclusion must be a source of great comfort to man. A man should judge his success not by the result, but by the labor, the effort he has put in to achieve his aspirations. Or we may say, in simple words, the journey to achieve the goal. So the journey is much more important than achieving the results. A failure is in itself a success. It implies effort and noble aspiration. Though the poet could not achieve his aim, yet the very fact that he had entertained high aims and aspirations give him considerable relief and satisfaction. He says that a man must derive comfort from the fact that he has aspired and made effort and has in this way asserted his superiority over the lower animals of the world. A beast has no aspirations. A man without aspirations would be like a beast. He would go down in the scale of creation. So we human beings are the creators, but the rest of the creatures, or we can say the animals and birds, they are different from us simply because they don't think, they don't argue, they are not rational, they don't create. And dear students, the difficult words of the glossary will be shared in your WhatsApp group. Don't worry about that. Thank you very much. That's all for today. Have a nice day.